Hey guys, welcome back to Trackrats Garage. I'm Jackson, but you can call me Jackrat, and today we're taking off the intake to get to the rest of the wiring harness, as well as tidying up the rest of the engine bay. Alright guys, it's another beautiful evening. I just got off work. We only have a couple hours of light left, so let's get cracking. Alright guys, the last thing we need to do to get the top of the intake manifold off, which is called the intake plenum, the last thing we need to get the top of the manifold off is to remove the throttle body here, this right here, which I actually don't know what it is, and then the brace back here which connects the top of the intake manifold down to the block. It's going to involve a couple more 10 mils as well as a 13 and some star bits or Torx bits, which we'll be using to get rid of all of the star bolts. So let's get started. Since the last time I stopped filming, the only things that I have done are I have removed the intake hose right here, the air hose, as well as all of the studs and the bolts from the top of the housing. So it's very loose. Just need to remove these last couple of components and we should be able to take this guy completely off.
It has a private fenced yard for a, and it's, yeah, but it's already pending. It already has.
Damn it. Of course. Sorry everybody, I was on a phone call and I didn't want to speak. Well, it turns out I still don't exactly know what this is. It looks like some kind of emissions system for the exhaust because it plugs straight down into the manifold and is just covered in what looks like soot, and there's no other mechanical parts or components in there, so I don't know exactly what that goes to. But I went ahead and removed this bracket. I removed all the connections behind there. I took off 2 of the 3 wires that are attached to the throttle mechanism right here. I still have to work on one. I'm not sure how to get that off quite yet. And I'm working on removing the last 3 lines that go into the throttle body, which needs to come off to get this intake cover off, or called the intake plenum, as I've read and heard it referred to. But right now I'm just removing these last few lines. Of course, the one I'm removing now is a 15 millimeter. Now my crescent wrenches that I bought go all the way up through 14 and then skip to 17. And there you go, throwing a wrench down into the engine bay, always smart. But they go from 14 to 17, so I have to use one of my universals, which does not fit as well, which means it's a slower job. But you know, these kind of projects never go how you plan. And there are 2 more down here. All they have though is a hose clamp. I just need to get a set of pliers, pry up that hose clamp, and we'll be good. Oops. Well, there goes that gasket. There's gotta be something. There it is. There's a bolt. Right there. There we go. I found the last bolt. It was hiding. That's why I was pulling that thing up like I was. I was looking to see if I could find the last bolt that was hooking the throttle body onto the intake manifold here, or the intake manifold cover. And that's what I was looking for, because I couldn't figure out how to get the throttle cable off of that assembly there, but by removing this last 13mm bolt down here, should be able to lift this cover off no problem. Let's gracefully get my leg out of here. Oh no, what else is there? Okay. Just one more line. Don't need to remove it completely, I just need access to the throttle body. And here we are, the fruits of our labor. Now this right here is that last hose that is not allowing me to take the intake off of the top of the manifold. But, however, this was not coming off very readily or very easily, and I was able to push it out of the way so that I can access, look at that, look at this thing crumble. Just comes apart. This part of the wiring harness, Jesus. The wiring harness here, all I need to do is unplug these connectors, which go to all the electronics of the motor. Here are the fuel rails. So I've already gone ahead and removed the connectors for the spark plugs. These feed down to the spark plugs below us, and those have already been removed. The wires, that is, the plugs are still not out yet. And yeah, we just got to avoid getting into any of the vacuum lines or the fuel lines down here. And I should be ready and be able to at least bolt this back on to make it easier to work on the engine bay. But let's get started. It's also worth it to say that there is a lot of nasty, scummy standing water under the fuel rails. Now at first I got a little alarmed, I thought it was fuel. Stuck my finger into it and smelled it. It was not. It is just water, as well as a nice selection of a ton of spider webs. So there was definitely quite a while that this thing was sitting idle, where it was being infested by a whole bunch of other stuff. But anyway, let's work on taking those connectors out. Looks like we have little metal clips on here. Well, those don't look right. Well guys, I just looked at my monitor here and it looks like the darkness has fallen and there's no real point to continuing because I won't be able to show it very well on camera. So it looks like I'm just going to clean up for tonight. And we'll call it a day, and we'll come back. I have a couple days off here coming up, and I should be able to get a lot of good work on the car during the daylight when you can see it readily. And we should make a lot of progress this next weekend that I have, which is Friday and Sunday. I should have, I think we should be able to be getting this whole ECU and wiring harness out of the car. And as soon as that happens, and I can clean up kind of the edges out here on the unibody chassis, we should be able to cut the front end off for to make way for our new chassis. Well guys, I guess I'll resume filming tomorrow. Alright guys, it's the next day and we're just going to keep plugging away on this wiring harness. We're going to take off all the clips down here that are associated with the AC compressor, as well as all of the random sorted connectors attached to the wiring harness. So, let's get cracking. Ooh, that's not gonna work. Now, unfortunately, it is at this point that my camera fell off its stand and promptly broke. So I finished the rest of the work, unable to get it on camera. I took off the air conditioning compressor. I took off a whole lot of most of the wiring harness, and there will be a small update in the next episode. But unfortunately, this stuff kind of happens. It was my fault for not keeping track of where my camera was on the stand, and while writhing around on the ground trying to get at a bolt, I kicked it, it fell, and broke the LCD display, and then refused to charge and turn on. So I had to go out and get a new camera, which sucked, and I did miss out on part of this episode, and I apologize for that, guys. But I will update you at the beginning of the next episode. And so, as always, if you enjoyed the episode, please like, comment, rate, subscribe, or just keep on watching. I love it all. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you next time.